USA Hockey just put out the 44 players that they invited to their Olympic orientation camp. The Olympics, of course, coming in February of 2026 at the start of this next year. Of course, with big news like this, a big roster like this, it's going to leave some people upset. The reaction to this has not exactly been civil. Several fan bases absolutely losing their minds over their favorite players not making this team and other players that they think is worse than their favorite player making this team. The big one, of course, has been Lane Hutson, but I'll get to that in a second. First, I just want to start and talk about Frank Nazar and Alex Vlasic both being listed on the team. As a Blackhawks fan, that makes me very happy. Now, I don't think either of them are going to make the Olympic roster, but seeing them here with this group of players gets me very excited. I think it's going to be a great learning experience for both of them, and I think they're both going to be on the next Olympic team. So I think this was that's good for U.S. hockey. Good job. They made the right decision inviting those two because they're studs. I'm also happy to see Patrick Kane on there. I also do not think Patrick Kane is going to make the Olympic roster, but I do think that's a great guy to have in an orientation installment like this. A guy that's been around the block, that's been there, done that. So many of these guys in that forward group probably grew up idolizing Patrick Kane. So I think that is the perfect person to have at a 44-player camp like this. I'll start talking about the forward group, though, a little bit. I think there's some guys, knee-jerk reaction left off, like Brock Besser and Alex DeBrincat, and even Nick Schmaltz. I think you could probably make the case that those guys are better than a few forwards on here. But I think that the purpose and the aim for a camp like this should be to bring the players that you know are going to make the Olympic roster. Because let's be honest, the Four Nations happened less than a year ago, right? They probably have, the guys that are putting this team together have a good idea of who they're bringing and who they're not. There's probably only a handful of spots, maybe 2 or 3 spots in the forward group that are up for grabs, and maybe one extra defenseman spot that's up for grabs. But I would imagine that the GMs that are putting this team together have a pretty good idea of who they're taking and who they're not taking. So I feel like the purpose of this camp should be to bring all of those guys, maybe bring a savvy veteran or two, and then bring young players that are going to be the future of USA Hockey. I feel like that's the way to do a camp like this. And so that's why, to be honest with you, I'm upset that Lane Hutson was not invited. But I'm very pleased to see Frank Nazar on there. And you know who else isn't on there? Really, really peculiar stuff here. Frank Nazar's on there. Will Smith, who also went to the men's worlds like Frank Nazar. Will Smith, man, where is he? Oh, man, I must have misread this. San Jose, where's your boy? San Jose fans, where is your boy? Frank Nazar's better than Will Smith. I'm not saying that. USA Hockey's saying that. USA Hockey is saying that Frank Nazar clears Will Smith. I'm not saying that. They are. All right? Don't blame me. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me. Yeah, man, I'm so pumped to see Frank Nazar on here. I think he's going to be a perennial all-star. I think he is going to be an elite talent in this league. I think at his peak, he will be a top 20 player on the planet. I believe that. I'm so bullish on Frank Nazar. You can call me a madman now. I know a lot of people think he's going to bottom out at 60 points a year. I disagree. I think this is a point per game, two-way centerman who is going to tear up the NHL for a very long time. If you've watched me for any amount of time, you know how I feel about Frank Nazar. He's an absolute beast, and he's better than Will Smith, and I didn't say that. USA Hockey did. Let's go, Frank Nazar. Shane Pinto, cool to see him on here. Yeah, I don't know about Vincent Trocheck or Chris Kreider. I think I would probably take DeBrincat over those guys. I would take DeBrincat over those guys. I would probably have Brock Besser over those guys. But hey, it's not up to me. So what are you going to do? I'm going to make maybe my next video will be maybe a premature 6 months out Team USA lineup prediction video, prediction / lineup that I would want to see. I like seeing guys like Alex Tuck and Matthew Nyes here. I think Team USA needs size. They need physicality. Those are players that I would probably like to see going to the Olympics this year. Now, let's talk about it. Lane Hutson, man, if you watched one of my more recent videos, the bad tweets video, I went over a tweet from Bar Down saying, is Lane Hutson a top 10 defenseman in the world? And now in that video, I kind of trashed Lane Hutson a bit. It was more about the tweet being rage baity. Lane Hutson's not a top 10 defenseman in the world yet. He's not close, but he's going to be eventually soon. Actually, he is kind of close, honestly. He just needs to learn to play defense, which might take a while. But if you watch that video, I was, quite critical of Lane Hutson. But today I found myself defending his honor. I tweeted, I hate the Habs, but no, Hutson is crazy work. And the reason why it's crazy work is because you've got guys like Neil Pionk, Brett Pesce, Brady Shea. Like, these guys are good defensemen, but Lane Hutson is going to be a top 5 defenseman in the league. Like, he's just going to be, without a doubt. The offensive ability is on par with the Cale Makars and Quinn Hugheses of the world. He's just got to get bigger, stronger, faster, and better defensively. And I think he will as, he gets older and bigger. It's going to happen. As a Team USA fan, I want to see that player here, learning from these guys, getting the right guidance, getting the right coaching, learning what he needs to do to get to that next level. Because I know I hate the Habs, but I love Team USA, and he's going to be one of the guys carrying the torch in a few years. He just is. He's going to be obviously on the next Olympic team. He's a stud. He's undeniable. He should be here. What are you gaining from it? Brett Pesce, Neil Pionk, and Brady Shea are not making the team. They're not even going to get on the flight. They're not going to be reserves. They're not even going to be on the flight. They will be in America when the Olympics are going on. They won't even be in Europe. They won't even be on that side of the world. So what's the point of having these guys at this camp when you could be bringing young players in? And I really do, I'll say it again, I really do think that should be the purpose of installments like this. You should be bringing in the young players that are the future of U.S. hockey and have them learn from the guys that are currently in their primes. That's the way you do this. You have 44 players. How is Lane Hutson being left off? It's crazy to me. I like that Luke Hughes is there. I mean, for the same reason, I would probably prefer Lane Hutson over Luke Hughes there, but regardless, I like seeing the young players. Shane Pinto, I'm happy with that too. Maybe that's going to be a guy in a few years. Who knows? Probably not, but I like seeing the young guys at this. And so I tweeted, I hate the Habs, but no, Hutson is crazy work, to which I got a couple replies. Why? He's horrible defensively. This is the Olympics, not a regular season game. Every single time he's on the ice, he'll be playing against top opponents, and he's just not good enough yet. And now what am I doing defending Lane Hutson? Like, what is my life? This is crazy. My life is a movie. I'm defending Lane Hutson on the internet right now. I said, brother, I don't think he should make the Olympic roster. I do think he's the most exciting young American defenseman and should be invited to a 44-man orientation camp. Facts! He should have been. Lane Hutson should have been invited to this camp. No one's going to convince me otherwise. I know the defending is atrocious. I'm going to get to that in a second. Trust me, I will. But this guy should have been invited. He should have been there, and I think that's a missed opportunity. All right. So here's another one. This was a tweet coming from Neeler. He said, Lane Hutson's not even a top 16 defenseman in America, but Habs fans will insist he's top 20 in the entire NHL, laughing emoji. And I said, okay, Lane Hutson, again, this is crazy today. My life is so backwards. My life is a movie. I'm defending Lane Hutson on the internet. Okay, Lane Hutson is definitely better than Brady Shea, but I'll admit this is fantastic bait. This is hilarious bait. That's a good one. I don't argue with the wall. That's a banger tweet because Habs fans are crazy on Twitter. 82,000 impressions. Banger. Sorry. Good rage bait. This guy said, but here's the thing. USA Hockey asked Shea and Hutson to play at the World Championships. And one of them said yes. One of them said no. Hutson was dinged up. Okay. Come on. He was partially carrying that Canadiens team into the playoffs, and then had a playoff run, and then decided not to go. Look, should he have probably have gone if he was healthy? Yes, but who cares? I want to beat Canada. I don't give a shit about who's saying yes and who's saying no. Do we want to win? That's stupid. Invite the best players to this camp. Do we want to beat Canada? Yes or no? If no, that's fine. Leave the future of your blue line out of the camp. That's fine. If the answer is yes, you should be inviting the future of the blue line of USA Hockey to this orientation camp. You should be. He said he almost put up 70 points his rookie season. I do not give a fuck about the World Championships. It's good for USA Hockey to bring their best young players to these installments. Fact. And then he said, you're assuming USA Hockey thinks he's one of the best players. They don't. He'd be there if they did. That's not true. It's obviously because he said no to the men's worlds, which is fucking stupid. If you think that Neil Pionk and Brady Shea are better than Lane Hutson, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. You don't know ball. It makes no sense. Neil Pionk is probably never going to... Let's be honest. Neil Pionk is never going to play for Team USA in an important game. You know, he might be at the men's worlds. If they ever do another Four Nations, you think Neil Pionk is going to be on that team? You think Neil Pionk is going to be on the Olympic roster? Do you? Because I know the answer to that. No, he's not. Of course he's not. He's a good defenseman. He's a really good defenseman. But Lane Hutson put up almost 70 points in his rookie year. It's kind of crazy. If you don't think Lane Hutson is going to be a top 5 defenseman in a few years, you don't know ball. Simple as that. Fact. I love Lane. He's electrifying. I hate when people do this. Oh my gosh. When they shit on somebody for like several minutes and they go, I love him. No, you don't. You don't love him. I don't talk about people I love in the way you're talking about Lane Hutson. I love Lane. He's electrifying. I think he becomes the type of defensive player in his prime that can play in the Olympics. He just can't be trusted defensively yet against the world's best, which is obviously not what I'm arguing here. It's better for him to learn how USA Hockey expects whether or not I agree with it. This is a 44-player camp. There are 15-plus players on this list that are not even going to get considered for February. How do you expect them to learn what USA Hockey expects if you aren't going to invite them to stuff like this? Fact. This camp is where you show them what you expect. And, that's a bar. That's true. I can't believe I defended Lane Hutson as much as I did, but don't worry. I got my licks in. I got my Lane Hutson slander in because I can't just be supportive of him. Obviously, he's a Habs player. What am I? Come on. So this guy here, Jordan Decker, tweeted, imagine inviting Frank Nazar to Olympic orientation camp and not Lane Hutson. Imagine inviting Frank Nazar. Laughing emoji. Hutson had more assists last year than Nazar had games played in the league. Okay, dummy. If you're upset about, Lane Hutson not going, fine. All right. I was a little bothered by it too, and I'm not even a Habs fan. I get it. Don't try to slander my boy. Don't do that. You can talk about other defensemen there. Don't talk about my boy. All right. To which I replied and cooked up this quick little video. Calm down, little bro. Don't make me pull up the receipts. Nazar smoked your boy like a blunt a few months ago. And I kind of just want to watch this here. And so, in this clip here, this was from the second to last game of the season. Against Montreal, where Frank Nazar scored primary assist there, dime from Nazar to Bertuzzi. And then he also bodied Lane Hutson twice and forced grade A opportunity. Look at this. Boom! See you, Lane Hutson. And then Teuvo Teravainen completely squandered this chance. This is his goal on the power play. Boom, one-timer, banger. And then I also included his shootout goal that he scored against them. So, he cooked Lane Hutson a couple times in this game, stealing the puck off of him, scored a goal, had a sick primary assist, and then walked it off with, now you see me, now you don't. How you doing? Mountain Bow, your cheeks, buddy. Back of the line. And I'll play this again. This was Hutson getting absolutely dusted by Frank Nazar. Did you see him get dusted? Look at him. It's like two different games. Hutson's skating with fucking rocks in his skates, man. Nazar's just walking past him. Teuvo Teravainen, put the puck in the back of the net and get my boy an apple. Come on. 30 likes. Something light. Had a slander had to slander him a little bit, you know. I couldn't just be defending Lane Hutson on the internet all day. You know, I had to hate at some point. Like, if I don't hate, I'll explode or something. But yeah, man, I'm gonna do a more comprehensive Olympic video probably next, because this just came out and it's pressing right now. Joey Decord probably would have had Wolf or Demko over Decord, but you know, I guess that's not really my battle. It is my battle. I am USA Hockey. Joey Decord shouldn't have been invited. It should have been Demko or Wolf. Simple as that. A lot of these are fine. Seth Jones is fine. Look, we know who our defense is going to be, right? I mean, we know it's going to be Quinn Hughes. We know it's going to be Adam Fox. We know it's going to be Brock Faber. We know it's going to be Jacob Slavin. We know it's going to be Zach Werenski. It's probably going to be the defense. You know, Sanderson will probably be the extra, which maybe he should start over Fox. I'll talk about that in the next video. You know, yeah, you kind of know what you're getting. The rest of these guys are here for fluff. So it's like, if Brady Shea and Brett Pesce are there just to run drills, why didn't you invite Lane Hutson? Lane Hutson should have been there. Lane Hutson should have been on it. Great to see Alex Vlasic. Good learning experience for him and Frankie. Showtime is going to teach all the youngins. They're all going to look up to him the way all the Canadian players look up to Crosby. It'll be a fun camp. Excited to see content from it. But yeah, I think that'll pretty much do it. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe here if you have not. I make videos like this all the time and get angry and like to go over arguments that I have with strangers on the internet. So if you're into that kind of stuff, definitely hit that subscribe button. Like the video, that'd be cool. If you've watched this far, I really appreciate you. I think that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Peace.